You can kill me, but you will never destroy me. It takes strength to resist the dark side.
Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one.
Are you kidding? Why the hell should I wait for you?
I know what it's like to try and rebuild a life. I had a bad day too, once.
If you're having nightmares, then welcome to the club. My name's Subaru Natsuki, and I am the Knight of Amelia.
Right now, all I can give you is just death.
It wasn't for you in particular.
You fought 100 men because it's not in your nature to run away.
If you are feeling disheartened, that you are somehow not enough, set your heart ablaze.
Good evening, everyone. I don't know how to start this. I mean, the usual weekend weebery bullshit that I do, covering seasonal anime, talking about it. Normally I'm alone. Tonight I'm joined by a special guest, friend of the channel, RCS Rules. And on a really, really quick note, because of, you know, the stuff that happened last night, Drunk Crimson is not lying. It cannot, the things Drunk Crimson says, Sober Crimson cannot be held accountable for, okay? So whatever threats or whatever the hell I made last night on that podcast, I don't want to hear anything about it, okay? I don't. It was not a good display for me. Speaking of which, more alcohol. God, I got a Mike's Harder, and I saw strawberry pineapple. And I thought maybe it would get tastes like I'm drinking perfume.
That's weird.
It's a terrible decision to keep drinking this, but here I am. So there's not going to really be a news segment tonight because I doubt we'll actually have any time to go over any significant news. So I'll save a lot of that stuff for next week when I'm alone. Most likely alone. Who knows what's going to happen? And we're just going to be talking specifically anime because we're about halfway through the spring season. And now, personally, there's a lot of these in here that turned out to be better than I expected. There have been some major disappointments and all that, and I figured I'd bring someone on to have a difference of opinion on here to see if I'm alone in my opinion on some of these anime or if it's the general consensus. So, without further ado, this is where we were last week. Let me bring this up over here and readjust this because, yeah, so everyone can see this properly. There's been a lot of stuff that I've watched. I think I've watched more this season than I ever have in a season.
That's wild.
Not all of it has been particularly good. And even some of the things that I do really, really enjoy are not great anime. Fortunately this week, I know you don't watch it, but I really do, and I think it's probably the best anime out this week. The Apothecary Diaries didn't have an episode this week, so there will be no comment on that. I do not take disagreement on this one. This is hands down the best written, the best executed anime of the season. But we don't have to talk about that here because, yeah. To answer the question, Marcel, I moved the time schedule. I moved the time up a bit to accommodate the guest tonight because
That's my fault.
It's not your fault. It's just easier on people who are in different time zones.
Yes.
I should really stop drinking this. Okay. Where do we want to start? Because, I mean, the first thing in my list is Evil Lord of an Intergalactic Empire. Have you been watching that one?
Oh, dude, that show is amazing. I love it.
Honestly, I agree. Evil Lord of an Intergalactic Empire has been far better than anything I had expected.
We're talking about this week's episode, like today's episode?
Well, we could talk about that specifically because I'm still doing the ranking, but I do also want to talk about it overall.
Okay.
With this week's episode, I really did like it, so I'm moving this up a couple. It's still in a very good category. I wouldn't put it as a must watch because there are certain times where it's rough, but like last week's episode, I felt like was a little rough with how it handled the space pirates and all that in order to sort of like even the odds. But basically just like sending off the big bad boss guy into like an Imperial training ground to deal with him.
Yeah.
But this week's episode I thought was pretty good, particularly because we got to see Liam sort of reflect on his past life and have sympathy with a bunch of people who have basically been through a similar thing as him. And yes, today was brutal with a really good moment of like Liam actually being willing to try and like fix these people's lives. So this week's episode, because of that, this one moved up 2 slots. All things considered, it's been a really good series. Any thoughts to add?
Yeah, I like Intergalactic Empire, and I don't know if it's just because it's by the Trapped in a Dating Sim author or what, but I like Liam as a character, and even though every episode just seems very wild, and I wouldn't say it's not consistent, but it just feels like I'm turning it on, and it's just like, man, that was good. I know like what happened, but at the same time I don't. But like I just love it, and the characters just being silly, the gags of the samurai master and the girl that owns all the mechs and everything's just trying to get him to buy it. But just Liam just being a good person and just realize what he went through in episode 1 and 2, and he's just like, I gotta help these people. It's just great to see.
Yes, I absolutely agree. As far as this goes, like it does a really good job of like taking one of the big things I have an issue with when it comes to series similar to this is when they'll lean too heavily into like one element or the other, and they don't do a good job of keeping a serious plot while also having some levity in it to not drown in its own melodrama or darkness. This series, it does lean much more to the comedic side, but at the same time, I feel like it still does a good job of telling a serious story. Those are the kinds of like things that I really appreciate. Is you can be a comedy series, but I still like the story to be more on the serious side rather than just being gag centric. This one is more to the serious side, like I said. There's a lot of good things about its production that I think more anime studios should learn from. I don't know if you've heard me say this, but as far as this one goes, it's a really good use of like CGI. Yeah. Because normally when you get CGI, it is during like the main body of like an action sequence where like they're actually like locking blades and all that. That is the most intensive stuff that like animators have to do because there's a lot of moving parts to that. Yeah. In this one, though, they actually animate those and they alleviate the work by of the animators by using CGI in the transitional scenes between like actual fights. So like when Liam's flying around in his mech or whatever, or just like generally walking, like you have those like shots in between clashes where they're just moving around in the air or something. Those will be CGI'd. I thought that was a really good way to handle this subject. Because like I made a video a while back when like my channel was still like sub 500 subscribers. We're talking about like CGI in anime can be used well. And more we're getting good use cases of CGI.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, the characters in this are good. I really like how they played into like the tragedy of everything that happens to Christina and her group.
Oh yeah,
all of the pets that are being kept.
Yeah,
a lot of really effed up stuff that seems like it's going to get a positive resolution, and I do like those sorts of things.
Oh yeah, no, it's very interesting that like it's handling like plot A, plot B, plot C, however you want to categorize it. Like it's handling it that like they could just jump to the next scene or a next plot, and like it just still fits in really well. And like it's like, oh yeah, that's what's going on and everything. Yeah, what's going on there? And it gives you just a bit of information every episode, and it's just like, okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, if this one were a little bit smoother, I probably would put it in the must-watch category, but I don't think it has earned that from me yet, because there have been a couple of points where it was a little bit rougher on the story elements and where it was a little bit less satisfying to watch. There are going to be a lot of those things in anime, just in general, but some are more dissatisfying to watch than others. I feel like we got blue balled with the pirates, effectively. That was my big complaint about it.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything else to say about that. I mean, there was the whole like satisfying kill on that madman scientist. I expected that to come. Like he's like talking about like all his masterpieces. Like the moment that he was like showing everyone around, I knew that guy was going to end up dead. We already talked about how Liam went and like rescued all the girls. So
can we just talk about how that moment in that one episode when, you know, the pilot girl was in the mech and, you know, he's just, his thoughts are thinking and the robot's just acting what he's thinking.
The pelvic thrust, yes.
And then the next episode title of the episode's called The Harem Plan. I'm like, really?
It's overall a very fun and enjoyable anime. And of course, we end this one with Liam becoming a master of the way of the Flash, where he basically he takes all of this BS that his master is like making up and actually like materializes it.
Yeah, I like that. He's like, but master, I can't do this. No, you got to figure it out. And he goes, oh, he's right. And he just gets this defensive shield, just destroys everything. And he's like, what?
To Marcel's point here, the thing with the pirates, I do get the same feeling like that pirate boss may end up coming back, but we'll have to see about that. The jury's still out. I don't see any like reasonable means for him to escape after warping his fleet into like the heart of a military exercise.
Oh yeah,
we'll see about that one. Let's talk about. We're going to drop all the way down to the other end of the spectrum with Unaware Atelier Master. Have you watched this one?
I dropped it, man.
Honestly, I can't say I blame you because there's one big problem with anime like this, and it is basically there is this archetype going on right now of I am secretly OP, but all of my tarred coworkers just don't realize it, so they fired me.
There were 3 animes airing this season, that one included, that are the same thing, but I think that the other 2 do it better. Maybe not recently, but I think A-Rank Party and Brilliant Healer are just like Atelier. Just, in my opinion, I think those 2 series do it a lot different and make it more tolerable than Atelier.
Well, there's actually 4 because Two Perfect Saint is the exact same archetype as well.
I forgot.
That's in there. So there are 4 this season that have the same plot. I feel like this is going to become like the next big isekai thing is the archetype that I basically just said, like, I'm secretly OP, but none of my coworkers realize it, so they fired me.
Yeah.
But in this one, we basically have Kurt becoming a viceroy, so he is like full on like in the government now. Then creates a fucking lake.
I heard
raises a dragon, and we also get a little bit of backstory about like his dragon childhood friend. So we'll see where all of that goes. But I do agree, this one, I won't say it's amazing. I feel like out of all of these, it's at the very least one of the weaker versions of this story.
I heard from my buddy today when we were talking about this show because he loves it. He said that Kurt now has a baby and all the women are just fighting over it to beat them up.
Yeah, so he somehow found a dragon egg and like hatched it, and yeah, that's a thing. That there's another thing that just reminds me of the light novel series Peddler in Another World, which I feel like is generally a better version of the I found this random dragon child and now it's mine kind of thing.
Oh my God.
But yeah, there is that. That was funny. I did genuinely like that. The princess is continuing to be an absolute freak over Kurt.
Oh God.
Like the moment they built the new atelier, she's like, "This is gonna be our love nest," and she's like thirsting over him.
I remember that. Yeah, I dropped it around 5 or 6 episodes, so I know generally what happened.
Mhm. But I do enjoy this one because it is just a dumb OP fantasy, and there's a level of entertainment value to that. I feel like at times it gets Kurt a little bit too involved in a lot of the plots and stuff, especially with the devil thing that happened, where he basically takes a mop and erases the summoning circle.
Oh god.
But this one's gonna stay here. As much as I do enjoy it, it is just kind of an okay anime. There are better renditions of the story. A-Rank Party and Two Perfect Saint, I think, are much better renditions of the story because they do things in a much more unique way. This is pretty much your stereotypical copy-paste formula of the story.
I got you.
Mhm. And of course, there's all the harem stuff going on with the night lady and the princess fighting over who's going to be the mother of this little dragon girl.
Oh god.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, let's move slightly up the list here to the boob anime, Yandere Dark Elf, the one that I watch only because I like elves. This is another one that's just like I won't defend its writing because it almost feels like it is like what you come to expect out of like the usual ecchi stuff. Like you don't get any like actual like good ecchi anime anymore, I don't think, unless they specifically focus on a completely different aspect of it.
Yeah.
But with this, it's like in this episode we basically get, of course, Belle wants kids. I don't think there was any doubt about that. Turns out she's really, really good with children, and that makes the blonde classmate super jealous. So there is this active war going on over who's going to get his attention. I'm just sitting here like, this is fiction. Just harem ending everything, okay?
Yeah.
Everyone, like, I loved Too Many Losing Heroines, but I would prefer 0 losing heroines, okay?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm caught up to it. You know, it's fine. I don't have a problem.
Fine. It is basically just like trashy, like reverse isekai stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other way to describe it. Like the writing is not good, but the personality, you know, the goods. I have a clip for that. Where is it?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. All right, you know what? The moment's passed. I fucked up. Okay. The personalities are amazing, but
do you mean the part in Super Cube where she's like, "Oh, so hard"?
Oh no, sorry. I still haven't clipped that and put that in here. Unfortunately. Inside your body.
Yeah.
God, that dub is gloriously bad.
Yeah, I watched the whole video that you did of that. It was amazing. Amazingly bad.
I regret saying it couldn't get any worse. That was my favorite part of all of that, is I said that like it can't possibly get any worse than this. I was literally at that point thinking like I think I've heard it all, and then somehow it managed to impress me more with how bad it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, Yandere Dark Elf is gonna stay pretty much right here. Like I have no real objection to it. It's elf boobs. I don't really have a problem with it, unless elf boobs are involved in trying to fuck a cat. Then we have a problem.
Yeah.
All right. So that is number 3 on the list. Number 4 is probably the most controversial anime of the whole season. The Beginning After the End.
Yeah. My opinion's changed from episode 1.
You were a pretty ardent defender of this series back when it first aired.
I was, and then I couldn't really defend it anymore after what it showed me.
Yeah, it was. I didn't go into this wanting to hate it because everyone was talking about how it was like the better Mushoku Tensei. I went into this hoping that it would be a good series. Like I'm never out to like sit here and hate on something or prey on its downfall. This one just gave me nothing to work with. Though, in the past couple of episodes, pretty much, I feel like it's gotten marginally better, but there hasn't been a whole lot of like fights. And the one like short little fight scene that actually showed in episode 7 here had some real movement to it.
Yes,
But
it did. Yeah.
it still has not really given anything that has been terribly impressive. There's a bit of like lore and stuff to enjoy. And to Marcel, what Marcel's saying, hey, at least it showed a bit of the training arc. I do agree. But the story still feels really, really fast paced compared to what it's covering. Like a lot of the things like they're doing in the story feel like they could have had more impact and felt more important to the viewer if they had taken more time, they had given you more time with characters on certain subjects or just in the training arc in general. I feel like them skipping ahead several years for the training arc kind of robs the impact of Arthur's level up, if you will.
100%, man. Yeah. Just like Marcel said and what you were saying, I think episode 7 was pretty good. I think the 2 episodes before that were kind of shit, honestly. I really did not like those episodes, and I think it was around that time, if not maybe the episode before, so maybe 4 or 5. I was just like, I can't. Like, I can't anymore. Like, the art just got really bad. The animation wasn't really good. They kept, like, skipping and rushing stuff from the manhwa and everything. I felt like the elf girl just was very annoying. I felt like they just put scenes in there that just made no sense. Like, you know, I had to read the manhwa to find out that the reason why the elf girl was staring at him at that cliffhanger, and he's like, "Oh, did she betray me?" and everything, is that's how Arthur's perception of what he was thinking she was going to betray him because of how when he lived his old life as a king, he thought everyone would betray him. But I was like, felt like you could have, you know, wrote that a little better or explained it better than.
So wait, that was just like what he thought was going on.
He had this image of the elf girl because she goes like, you know, she had this like, you know, this face that she looked like at him like, oh shit, she's gonna betray me and everything like that. And then I find out, not just from the manhwa, but from people online, they said that's just what Arthur was thinking that was going to happen because he's had this mindset of everyone's just going to betray me. Everything's, you know, just going to go wrong for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just was very confused. I'm like, what? Like, what the hell does that mean? And everything.
From what I hear, it takes a while for this story to really get to the parts that people really, really love. But even then, it does feel pretty unpolished here at the beginning, and it may very well be because it's Turtle Knee's, you know, like very first series. That could be part of it. I don't actually know if it's his first series or not, but this is the first I've heard of him. I know there were a lot of people like speculating because apparently it's the author has just announced that he's going to be ending the series in like 12 chapters or something.
Yeah.
A lot of people speculated that was going to be because of the anime or whatever, because it performed so poorly. But in Japan, apparently this one is doing pretty well.
Yeah, no, Japan loves this show. It's the West that doesn't like it.
Oh, hello, Ronnie. Fuck you, Ronnie.
Yeah,
all my homies hate Ronnie. No, he's all right.
I don't know. Just to give you a little like summary. I mean, I really liked episode 1 and 2. I think even 3. Just because, you know, I was just like, hey, you know, I give it a chance, right? You know, like, who knows what it looks like? You know, yes, we got this trailer. Yes, we got the opening. That's just still shots, right? I was like, just let it, you know, let's see what happens, right? And everything. And then it just got worse, like to the point that I was like, oh my God, like you're giving me nothing to work with to defend this show and everything. Like there was just still shots and it looked like even the mouth wasn't really moving much and everything. Or just when he went to go see the dragon and everything, and you just see slight like motions of things, and I'm like, this does not look good at all. And I'm like, how do I defend this when everything it's providing me is shit?
Yeah, this one I feel like probably it had all the hype behind it to really succeed. So even if I didn't really care much for the story, if its animation would have been good, it probably would have really popped off this season.
Yeah.
And it probably would have gotten people hooked. People would have cared more. But the big distracting factor really is that it is a slideshow of an anime.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because now you have a lot of people like a bad anime will do a lot of damage to a series.
Yep.
I'm still waiting on Saw My Spider So What season 2.
If T-Bait gets another core or another season, would you watch it?
I probably will just because I really don't know at this point. Honestly, I feel like I would be indifferent to it, but I'm kind of at the point where like I'm just kind of locked into watching what I'm watching. So,
okay.
I have really no idea whether I would. It would have to do something drastically different to improve my my perception of it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's my opinion.
All right, we're covering a lot of the bottom tier anime to start with. So let's go on to Please Put Them On Miss Takamine, the series that Crunchyroll seems adamant about delaying until they get censored versions of everything.
Yep.
So I'm really trying to remember where it was in the manga that I got to, because I keep coming across scenes that I feel like odd senses of deja vu for, but I didn't think that like I had read this much of this series. And this is another one where I would say like the plot and the writing could easily be better. I don't think it's trash. It at least puts in an effort to make the characters likable, and like kind of have a plot to it. But literally, your plot for your ecchi series is predicated on somewhat predicated on the assumed idea that our main character is never going to get to tap that because this chick has a power trip.
This show had potential, man.
I don't hate it. I do enjoy it because I do like the character of Takamine and Shirota.
Yeah.
And
it's not trash. I agree with you. I think I watched 5 episodes and I gave it a 6. I think it's okay. I really was trying to like it. Like I kind of enjoyed the first couple episodes. I was just laughing. I'm like, this is so dumb, but I kind of love it. This is like it kept me entertained and everything. And then I'm trying to remember what happened, but then this is what happened. I watched episode 4 and I was like, okay. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna drop this or not, but I'll give it another episode. So then I watched 5 and it pissed me off when we find out that Takamine was childhood friends with him and everything back in the day, and he doesn't fucking remember her. And he doesn't remember her. And I'm like, and then she gets pissed off at him for not remembering. And I'm like, oh, by dropping the whole childhood friend thing, I was like, oh, well, that could have gone somewhere. I understand that this is the whole cliche of romances and harems, but it would have been so much more entertaining and I feel enjoyable in my perspective if, he was like, oh, were we childhood friend? Or she just said something. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. And it would have gone, I don't know. I just was thinking something different.
It's a drama much like with Can a boy-girl friendship survive? It's a drama that can literally be solved with like 2 sentences.
And I understand that this is anime. Like I shouldn't be thinking too hard about it. I get it. It's just a show. It's just you should just enjoy to watch it. But I guess I was just kind of expecting more, and that's just kind of what made me a little upset about it. I was like, oh, dude, like, come on, that could have been like a very interesting ecchi romance, like they're clearly gonna end up together, and that just, I don't know, it just.
Well,
I think
like,
Taka,
yeah. As far as this goes, I do agree. Like, it could have been it was one of the few that I thought was going to be like a decently well written ecchi series. Now, it's not the worst written ecchi series ever, but there are some points in it where it is very clearly just, pardon me, that's what happens when I drink. There were parts of it that were clearly just geared towards like trying to get you to the fan service.
Yeah.
Or make excuses for it. And now I do not have a problem with fan service. I have a problem with when your entire show and all the writing and everything in your world is geared specifically towards enabling that fan service, i.e. stuff like Beihei Neko, where like literally the only reason half the stuff in the plot happens is because they want to show either the elves' tits out, or they want to show her getting groped by tentacle monsters, or her fondling her cat's balls.
Yes.
I keep going back to Beihei Neko because I have a burning hatred for that series.
Fair, man.
But yeah. I thought the whole Blunder Day thing that happened this episode was funny, where basically she gets like completely thrown off because of something he said and doesn't sleep, and she's just like out of it for an entire day and making all of these ridiculous mistakes.
Dude, it's been 7 episodes and they haven't introduced other girls yet. I think the cliffhanger of the new episode was the short blonde hair girl I think I saw, but
yes. I believe, if I remember correctly, she is an actual like childhood friend of Shirota's.
Yeah, but she likes Takamine, if I remember correctly.
Huh.
Yeah, I was reading something about it, about the characters and stuff.
I have no idea. I read some of the manga for this, and then set it aside because I didn't think it was like super amazing, and I'm kind of like recalling everything that I had read up to this point. But like with the characters, like we actually have some decent like romance. We have like some like decent romance elements going between the characters. Like you see, like she's clearly into him, and like she really wants to have him around for the rest of her life. But like neither of them will say anything because he's a pansy and she's proud. So she's just going to spend the rest of her time manipulating the guy. And look, for a boob anime, it is above what I would expect, but it's still not amazing in terms of like other anime that I could watch. Like literally, there is all of this anime above the okay category that I would sooner watch over Takamine-san.
Yeah, well, you want to know what did get a confession in 6 episodes? Gorilla God.
I wouldn't know. I put that one aside.
I only know because of Brittany.
I dropped that one like episode 3, and no, it has nothing to do with the fact that one of the characters has my name. Okay.
What they do?
Yeah. This is no secret. My Twitter handle used to be my name, so Isaac.
Oh, okay. Yes, RC.
So it has, according, even in spite of the fake news that Biggle spreads about me not liking the series, it has nothing to do with the character Isaac having like the blessing of the dog god or whatever. Which, to be fair, dogs are awesome. Okay, let's just like end of story. Dogs are amazing. Oh, Jesus. Shut the fuck up, Ginger. I don't want to hear it from you. Okay, but yeah. Takamine is it's an okay series. It is marginally better than most of the ecchi we get these days, but it is nowhere near like I was looking for a video over like what counts as ecchi. I completely forgot that stuff like Kill la Kill was ecchi, or like Food Wars, or I No Game No Life still gets a lot of attention. I've never seen that one. I don't really know much about it outside of all of the incest is wincest stuff that gets said about it.
Yeah,
but like I still don't see any of these getting near as much like support as those, the ones that were actually like really good and revolutionary to the anime, the medium of anime overall. But we'll move on from the ecchi because that is all the boob anime that we have. We've talked about it all. The next one on the list is The Two Perfect Saint. And I'm not going to say the full title because I don't remember the full title. Honestly, as far as this one goes, I really like it. It's been a surprising slow burn. After I made my we need 90% more booba. Okay, you know what? I can't really say that I disagree with that assessment because booba is good. Booba is love. Booba is life. But I don't know if 90% is a good ratio.
Man, I read that first as boba.
90% more Boba Fett. Boba Fett drunk better when he flies. Okay. Two Perfect Saint. Back to what I was saying. I think the show has been surprisingly good, like slow burn, honestly. When I made my video, I said it's entertaining enough, but I don't really find the story all that good. And then it really started to focus heavily on the like sister revenge plot. And I really have enjoyed that part being a good it's been a good counterpart to Philia living her best life in another country. Both plots in tandem, I think, are a really like good part of this series where it shows the sister working to get her revenge. Meanwhile, Philia is like just doing her thing, being like a good person and unlocking emotions. And then we get some actual like plot progression with like the Continental Ritual and all of like Mia's efforts with the first prince of Giratone. I forget what the country's name is. It's another one of those series where it is a very like cliche plot line of I'm overpowered, but I get fired because people don't understand that. I understand if people don't want to watch that, but I feel like this is one of the better renditions of that idea I've found so far. Because this one has done something unique in having that sort of A and B plot work in tandem.
I haven't gotten to watch it yet, unfortunately.
Really?
Yes. I've heard good things, but I haven't touched it yet.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of the same with like To Be Hero X.
Yeah.
I'm going to move this one up to the top of interesting. I don't think it's very good yet, but it's definitely a really, really interesting show to me. I have enjoyed it quite a bit. I like it. Its world building isn't amazing, but it's better than what you would get out of like a lot of shows. I feel like it does more. It puts more effort into actually making its world seem interesting. Its characters are pretty good. It's got some mild comedy and levity to it that I like, and the overall plot, like I said, with both A and B plots going at the same time, working together, make the show a unique take somewhat on this premise. So we'll move on from there since you haven't watched it.
Yeah, I've heard good things about the whole revenge thing, but other than that, I've heard nothing really about the series.
Yeah. The next one happens to be The Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows. So I have this one at the bottom of the okay tier, the okay list right now. Because personally, like I feel like its writing could easily be much better. But on my anime list, I have this rated as an 8 because I get that much enjoyment out of it.
Wow, that surprised me.
Like, I don't think it's a great anime, but I do genuinely enjoy it. It's one of those things where, like, I acknowledge that it has a lot of flaws, but I enjoy it. Much like Naruto is my favorite anime, it still has a lot of issues. A lot of issues. So in this episode...
You go.
I was about to say, in this episode, we got the hot springs. And we have the blue-haired healer girl who helped the old party finding Xenos after like hearing about all his stuff and like there couldn't possibly be someone like that, and then she encounters someone exactly like that. and then he gets invited to go work for the actual like royal hospital. So there's a lot of things that happen in this. I feel like sometimes it's really fast paced, and its character writing and plot writing could be better. But there are also times where it is very effective in just being short and to the point, like with the whole Gollum fight, as well as being fairly well animated for absolutely no reason for like 10 seconds at a time. Like you'll get like these 10-second little like bites that are like really, really good animations, and then everything else is just kind of like standard.
Yeah, it's a new studio. It's working on the Journey anime too this season as well.
Oh, is that Tsutabi?
Yep.
The only other complaint I have about this is it feels like some of its episodes get aired out of like order. So like the first episode should not have been the first episode. I think that was a terrible directing decision. And I feel like this whole Gollum fight should have happened right at the end of the season, because of the way it sort of like resolves that with like the guide and stuff. That feels like a season ender, not like a mid, like an episode 6.
Huh. Interesting. I absolutely love this show. It's bad and good, man. Like I don't know. I know that sounds terrible, but I love this show, dude. From the comedy, to the characters, to the elf girl being like, dude, I don't have any tits or muscles, and it's so dumb. Or in the new episode when they're like, oh, hey, let's go to a hot spring. Oh, hey, let's go to a hot spring. Oh, you want to go to a hot spring, don't you? And everything like that.
He starts to lose his mind as everyone proposes going to a hot spring.
Bro, this show should not be that good and comical, but it's so funny. I love this show so much. Like
I respect it because, like I said, I do genuinely find it entertaining. There's a lot about it that's just dumb fun, but at the same time, there's a lot about it that I think is just dumb.
Dude, it's so. Well, I was literally telling my friend this today, and I was saying, dude, you love Adelier, and he's never seen Brilliant Healer, and I'm like, dude, Brilliant Healer and Adelier is like the same thing, getting kicked out of the party, you know, with dense protagonist, right, like that. But just Adelier just feels dumb. Like I don't get any comedy out of that. I did at first, but it's just not funny to me anymore. Healer, on the other hand, makes me die laughing. Like it should not be that funny, but it is, but it's still not a good series. But I enjoy the hell out of it. Yeah.
Goku struggling to keep up. Okay. Have you watched Fire Force?
I dropped it after season 1.
You know, I kind of understand. Fire Force is one of those shonen anime that like I enjoy, but it's another one that I think has issues. They'll like hype up characters and come up with really cool powers only to just kill them off right away. This new season started out really fucking rough, like really, really rough. But I'll make this brief. The latest episode was pretty good. The mystery that they've been developing as far as like the doppelgangers and Adola is starting to get really interesting. Benny Maru shows up to the fight, and I fucking love Benny Maru Shinman. Like he is the best character in the series, and he just like manhandles like everyone that's there.
Oh, I bet.
The only person who even like seems to be a problem with it for him is Dragon, but that's just to be expected. It was just funny to watch him absolutely like shit on all these really, really powerful characters who have been like a problem all throughout this. He's just like, yeah, fuck your ability to manipulate minds, fuck your ability to turn anything into fire, fuck your ability to incinerate entire cities. They're like, get out of my face, bitch. It was great. But then, of course, we get everyone's, well, at least the Fire Force community's favorite Dami Mami Hibana doing her investigation into the chapel and all of that. And that's where we're getting a lot of like the good mystery element for it coming from. But Yeah, I get it. It was more so the fact that he straight up was just deflecting everyone's attacks. He hasn't done much because I don't really think his intention there was to fight. I feel like he definitely could have done like they could have used him a little bit more, but I still liked him. I still liked the way he handled that situation overall. Again, though, Fire Force struggles with writing. It is very, very shonen, and in a lot of ways, not in a good way. I still enjoy it. A lot of the animation from season 1 and 2 was much better than what we've gotten out of season 3. But in the past, I don't know, 2-3 episodes, the animation has had an improvement. And it makes me feel like they are saving a lot of their effort and budget for the more intensive fights.
Yeah, I mean, I started season 2 a little bit back when it started airing, but I don't know if it's just I kind of grew out of it or what happened, but I just wasn't really caring for it. Not that it's a bad series. I remember enjoying season 1 when it first aired, but as time went on, I just think I didn't really care much about it anymore. And I think a lot of others did too, seeing how I don't really see much talk about it right now.
Well, part of that is just algorithm.
Probably.
But I do agree that I think season 2 is a falling off point for this show. There's a point at which, like in season 2, where they have this like huge like fight going on in like the Nether and all of that, and like they have this really cool character who basically his power is heat vision, so he can see things through walls and all that. And he's just like dual wielding like rifles, just killing infernals and stuff, and then they just terminate, like chop off his head, like quite literally, they just cut off his head and get rid of him. He gets one like really good fight scene against a mob of infernals, and then they kill him.
Yeah.
And then there is just a bunch of other bullshit that happens at the end of season 2. That is a pretty like heavy falling off point for this manga, for this series, if you ask me. Season 3 is interesting, and we're coming up on probably one of like the biggest fights in the whole anime of Arthur versus Dragon. But I honestly do not recommend watching it to many people because it kind of is one of those that is literally like you're going to have to just, swallow the bad parts of it if you want to watch it all the way through.
Fair.
Okay. So that's Fire Force. I think you said you dropped Kowloon Generic Romance, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to talk about my second favorite anime of the series, of the season. And there are some really, really wild things that happened in this latest chapter, in this latest episode. I mean, we kind of knew at this point that Kowloon wasn't real, but one of the implications that I hadn't thought of was the fact that like Reika herself isn't perceptible to people who can't perceive Kowloon. That was a pretty fucking wild reveal. So it's like she legitimately can't leave Kowloon apparently, because it doesn't actually exist. And we do learn a little bit more about how the original died with her suicide. So I still like the show, but I'm really, really curious how they're going to resolve all this. And I'm more and more expecting a pretty tragic ending.
Interesting.
But so far, I have really, really loved the writing of this series. Marcel is asking for your otaku license.
Everyone's been saying that over this show. I know.
From what I heard, though, they are, at least early in the season, there was a lot of talk about how the adaptation was rushing a lot of things. Even in spite of that, I still feel like this has been a really, really good anime. As far as characters and like the mystery part of it, like I genuinely think that it does deserve that number 2 spot next to Apothecary Diaries, because really this is the only thing that even comes close to the Apothecary Diaries in terms of writing.
Are they still adapting a volume per episode? I don't know if that's still a thing or close to it.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. So who knows? It may be a thing that they're doing. but I haven't really noticed any issues with it as the way I have with like stuff like Ubel Blett and all that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I didn't know if you wanted me to just say a quick opinion on it or anything.
I mean, you can if you want to.
Again, I probably don't have much to say or really, a defense right here since I haven't caught up to the anime. But I dropped it. But I watched 2 episodes and I realized that one, it's got a fire opening. I'll give you that, okay? But second, I'm not really into the whole like mystery sci-fi genres usually. And after watching a couple episodes of this, and I know what happens weekly. I see it on Twitter. I have a Discord of people that tell me everything that happens, the goods, the bads, people, shitting on it and everything. And I shouldn't be doing this because, I'm a hypocrite myself and I tell people not to do this too. But I've been looking at people reviewing the anime and they don't like it. And I'm like, you see what I mean? Like, why am I going to do that? Especially if it's not my cup of tea and everything. But then again, it's being a hypocrite because, I tell people like, don't trust people like that. Got to get your own opinion. But I don't know. It's just not as serious for me. I can respect people liking those types of genres and the characters and an interesting story. It just isn't for me.
Yeah. All right. Really quick. Yeah, I kind of figured that you were going to drop it at some point after hearing about some of your other thoughts. I dropped that I said 2, but it was actually 4 episodes in. I got done with like Love is Indivisible by Twins. I was sick of it by 4 episodes. I'm like,
I watched it all.
Yeah,
I watched it all.
How do you feel about it?
So it's an interesting story because I was actually kind of hyping it up before it aired in my Discord server because I kind of read a little bit of the manga. And then the anime just kind of threw up all over itself. It's like it didn't really follow a lot of the things that happened in the manga. And then I'm like, okay, I take the L. They just adapted it poorly, and it just was terrible. Oh my god! The more I went into like the more episodes I watched, the more I realized, yeah, I don't know why I was praising this to begin with, and it's not a good show. I think I gave it like a 4 or something.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I gave it the same rating as Kowloon, I think.
Interesting.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Anyway, we'll move on from Kowloon to Sword of the Demon Hunter. One of the anime that I was almost not going to pay any attention to until I saw some people talking about the pilot episode and praising it very highly. And I am so glad that got me to actually check this one out because this one, Sword of the Demon Hunter, has been consistently another really, really good show. Like I've said, especially when we were talking about our top 5 on Monday, this show writes in a very mature way. It's not like a lot of shonens that'll basically spoon feed you the plot and everything that I was trying to say. It will dance around the subject and allow you to put everything together yourself. This episode was a little bit of a side quest, so I can understand why some people may not like it. But I still enjoyed it because in spite of it being a chill episode, we do get a lot of like family backstory out of it. And we get some of the like father-son sort of bonding going on where like he is with his actual father, like having a drink and like actually getting along with him. So there was some good that came out of this episode, even if it didn't accelerate the plot. But overall, I have really enjoyed the way that this story has written things a lot. Like it does compelling characters very well, compelling storytelling. Its animation may not be the best. Like it probably could improve in that department, but it is a very, very good series overall. A bit slow, yeah, I can see that. But I feel like that slowness is justified by the fact that it genuinely puts all of that time into developing its characters and into like actually like writing things that make you feel like they matter.
I watched an episode. I haven't watched since that. I'm thinking about going back to it. One, if it kind of gets a dub, so I could just like binge it. But I've heard good things. Thought episode 1 was all right. Just didn't really keep my interest for me to really keep going. But I also don't hate it, so it's kind of in this weird spot of like, if I hear more about it and High Dive gives it a dub, I'd love to check it out.
Yeah, that's the thing is High Dive dubs tend to lag quite a bit, don't they?
Yeah. Like we're finally getting 2.5 dimensional seduction now.
I still have to check that out.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Also, High Dive's dubs tend to be like lower quality than Crunchyroll dubs, just for whatever reason. But
yeah,
we'll find out about that. We'll find out if this dub is actually any good. Next one on the list.
Oh right, I think it actually is getting dubbed. If I remember, I think it's coming out in June. I think I remember reading a tweet about it. Yeah,
that's one of the sad things though, is I feel like a lot of these series just like get fly under the radar for High Dive because they don't have dubs.
Yeah,
that was kind of how I was with like The Dangers in My Heart. I didn't watch the first season subbed. When it came out dubbed, I figured I'd check it out, and I realized that I had fucked up, and I should have watched it when it first came out.
Yeah, but no, I think Sword of the Demon Hunter is getting a dub, and I think the Neat Otaku one's getting a dub. Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about another one of my favorites from the season, Yaiba, because that's the next on the list. This is another one, much like Fire Force. The shonen writing of it can be for the worse. A lot of it is like that, like sort of like 90s-esque, well, I shouldn't say 90s-esque because it literally was written in the 80s and 90s. It is much older shonen writing. A lot of it's a bit cliche. Leans very heavily into the gags. And the time warp in this latest episode is another like cliche, but at the very least, it does justify having some more runtime because they're running out of ways to keep Yaiba from encountering Onimaru. But the fight animation has been good. That's part of it that I've enjoyed. It's a very goofy, like shonen plot. I do enjoy that. Its art style is pretty unique in the current era, so I do enjoy that as well. But I would not say that it has the strongest writing out of any of the series, out of all the series that are on this list. It could use a step up because a lot of times it does rely on some stupidity to keep the plot rolling. But that's to be expected out of a shonen because shonens generally aren't really written as well as some other anime. Have you seen this one?
I watched a couple episodes but dropped it. I think we had this conversation in one of your chats when you were starting to review it. I felt like it was just a worser version of like Ranma, which I actually enjoyed more. With Goku as the protagonist.
That's an interesting take. I don't know if I agree with that, but I guess it's fine. I genuinely do enjoy this. I have really, really enjoyed Yaiba this whole season.
I think the animation looks really good. Like I remember watching episode 1 and I saw the whole like fight scene before the episode started, and it looked really good, and I was like really invested in it. But then I started watching a couple more episodes and I saw that there really wasn't like fighting, and it just kind of they went to school, and like I haven't gotten that far, but if there's more fighting, like no one's told me. I said, please tell me if this gets more fighting and more, like a story and everything, I would love to pick it up again and everything, but I didn't feel like it had that.
It does actually start to pick up a story. So by the end of the school thing, they actually have a really, really good fight scene between Onimaru and Yaiba. and this is how he basically becomes like the bad guy. And it's like this whole it's effectively a street brawl between two samurai.
Oh my god.
And it is really great. And then from there on out is like every episode seems to have like a fight scene. Not all of them are great. Well, actually, there is the horror episode where you have a bunch of like the demons like basically being goofballs trying to steal the sword from Yaiba. But the last week's episode, not this week, last week's episode was a whole episode fight scene. That was really, really good.
Interesting. Well, I'll check it out again then.
Mm-hmm. All right, the next one on the list. I think I know you've been watching this one. A-Rank Party.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, yes. Hello, Muffler. It is always better late than never. So I feel like Dense Uke is getting a little bit old. Like I'm kind of getting like bro, just like I don't know how you haven't like just I don't know how you are this like uninvolved with these women. I'll say it in the mildest way possible. How are you this uninvolved with all of these chicks who are clearly thirsting after you at this point?
Yep.
But I mean, he did become nobility and sort of acknowledge his harem by basically like indirectly making them all his wives, and they're all like they literally said it like right to his face. They're all super excited to be called his wives, and he's like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Today's episode really pissed me off. It really did, man. I don't know, man. I was really hyping this show up. I thought it was really good in the beginning. It was funny. The animation looked great.
I think up until like the end of the stuff with the culling, it was on a good track. But after that point, it started to feel like, okay, we're kind of getting the same plot over and over again. There's going to be a betrayal, a dungeon raid, a resolution, betrayal, dungeon raid, resolution. That was the part where it really started to go downhill for me. I don't think it's terrible, but it's like you have been around these chicks for how long now, and you still don't realize that they all want you to like take them to bed.
And then the whole thing with Rain being his main wife, man, like really?
Nah, I think Rain's best girl.
Dude, I legit screamed when I said no, I want Jamie. What the hell? Why did he choose Rain?
Because Rain's the hottest, of course.
And then the red hair girl's like, yeah, we're just teasing him and shit, like that wink and everything when he leaves the room. And I'm like, bro, I hate you, man. What the hell is wrong with you? Just being this dense for this long, man. It's starting to get.
This is one where I do generally like agree with Hero Darky Dark's comment from earlier. 90% more booba would have been good.
Like, I feel you know what's really interesting is that I just feel like, like I don't really have a problem with any of the characters. I don't. It just feels like they're adding more girls every arc and everything. Not like that's a problem or anything. It just feels like there's too many of them. Like, I don't know why the cat girl's even there. Still, I understand she's the navigator, but other than that, why is she there? Like, I don't get it and everything. And yes, Jamie and, it's like, okay, I'll just adventure with you because I got nothing better to do, right? And everything. And then why is the child still around? Like,
I don't really mind the cat girl or Nibiru being part of it. Like Jamie makes sense. But it's like I feel like I would much rather have them like properly develop these characters and give them like good backstories and like prop them up a little bit more in the narrative than just add more female representation into it. I would much rather see them just properly like write their characters than just
yes, I agree.
And also to this point, Crimson doesn't want the elf. What the fuck? Look, I feel like the elf could have been much better written. So far, the only one who I feel like is a good written, like compelling character has been Rain, because she's the only one who's had any amount of backstory given to her.
Yep.
And actually, sorry, Jamie too. Jamie actually has like a decent character arc and stuff. She actually has writing backing her, so I would have respected that decision as well.
But the light novels push Jamie, and the anime pushes Rain.
Everyone has like a different agenda, huh?
No, the animators at the studio were like, nah, fuck Jamie. Let's push Rain instead, man. Why not, right? I don't know. I'm
just out here with like to Yuke, like, man, maybe then you get some bitches on your dick.
I still enjoy the show though. Like, I really enjoyed Core One. Like, I thought it was really fun. I liked how the three girls got, it felt like good character development. While, Yuke's looking after for them, as like a teacher, as like, someone that's just trying to help them and everything. And they're learning from him. They're understanding them. They're going through dungeons and just acting smart. It just was great and everything. And then the whole Golden City felt just like kind of, to me, felt like I wouldn't say an exact copy of the first arc, but it felt very similar with that asshole dude that was A rank that was just like, dude, you got all the bitches and everything like that. And, I'm mean to you now and everything. And I'm like, what?
No, that's how I felt about it too. Is we got to that point and it started to feel like we were getting repeats of like the same plot over and over again. So we got like a dungeon raid and then like 2 betrayals in one arc because remember Rain's uncle was trying to sell her off to make a profit or whatever.
Yeah, but I understand why Rain is being pushed in the anime. I get it. Like you said, she's got this backstory. Even the new arc is focusing on Rain. Like, I get it and everything like that. I just don't like it. Yep.
Anyway, yeah. I feel like this one had like probably a really good potential to like pop off and be a really, really good anime. I feel though that at the same time, it has kind of let us down by trying to just basically retread the same way. I also feel like the progression from zero to hero was way too fast.
Oh, 100%. 100%, man. Yeah. I think he's given just everything, it feels like. You at first felt like, oh, I feel bad for you because of the whole leaving the party thing. You're climbing the ranks up. You got your own goals. Like, I feel you. And then everything's just handed to him. Like, it just doesn't feel
after everything with like Simon and Thunderpike is resolved, it is basically just started spoon feeding him achievements.
It's a power fantasy now.
I think that's the disappointing part of it, is it actually felt like it was cool to watch them like progress and everything. And then all of a sudden they just hit the point in the story where they just start like rapidly accruing power for no reason.
And it's probably going to be a completed adaptation because it only has 5 light novel volumes and it's been clearly rushing stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
I
was talking to a guy on Discord about it, and I was telling him, I was like, this is probably going to be a completed show. And he goes like, I don't really feel like anything's happened. Like, where's the end goal? Like, and everything. And I'm like, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, like.
Yeah, it feels like it's kind of working towards a harem-esque ending, and I don't mind that, but I would much rather have had like actual character development instead of just adding like a bunch of new girls in to like keep your fascination with it.
Yeah.
All right. Have you watched Shoshimin?
No, I wasn't really interested when it first aired. I know it's by the Hyoka author though.
Yeah, that's why I'm watching it, because I'm a huge fan of Hyoka. But I'll keep this one pretty brief because I finally caught up on this. I was 3 weeks behind, so I have gotten through the whole arsonist arc now, and I'm not fully convinced that our girl is not involved in any of this. But she did dump the guy. She did dump her new boyfriend pretty fucking brutally in that last episode, which was interesting. This one can be a little bit hard to follow weekly, so I'm kind of glad I just binged it. But I do genuinely like this.
Does it have a dub?
I think the first season may have a dub.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the second season. Well, the first season is only 10 episodes, so.
If he's talking about A rank, it's done. Like volume 5's it. It literally ended, I think, in February this year.
All right. So yeah, I'll keep Shoshimin at that. I do like Shoshimin. I do kind of want to move this one up a bit. Is there anything else that I really wanted to move? A rank party, I actually did want to move down a couple slots because it's been kind of letting me down the past couple of episodes and all that. Two Perfect Saints stays there. Everything else up here that I've talked about has been pretty good. Shoshimin, I moved up a couple. I wouldn't put it above Evil Lord of an Intergalactic Empire, but I would put it above at this point Lazarus and Aharon. But we'll get to those in a bit. How about Master Swordsman?
I dropped it, man, as I think you know.
I may have heard that at some point, but I don't keep track of everything. So
I dropped it, and I'm not going back to it. I've tried. I've really tried. Not that it's a bad show. It's just it's the same dumb bullshit that I'm tired of.
See, I really do enjoy the series, just except for the fact that Beryl is just so completely unaware of his own abilities. Like, I wouldn't mind if he was just humble, but he genuinely believes he sucks, and that's the annoying part. But with this latest episode, I feel like it does a lot of like slice of life stuff. I mean, we have the how to handle a distant teen, rats, lots of rats, and Miwi just adjusting to normal life. There isn't really anything worth noting in this episode. It's basically a lot of like bonding and like a little bit of character work. So I don't think this latest episode is very impressive. It's kind of like a winding down after the climax of the last one, but it has had pretty good animation. I have liked the characters outside of, again, Beryl basically just thinking he sucks. That's annoying to me. It would be one thing if you were just humble, but he's genuinely convinced that his skills aren't worth noting.
I think the animation is good. I think the first couple episodes were pretty funny. I just kind of got sick and tired of it the more it went on.
Yes. This is another one. So this in Dinner Table Detective are anime that have been dubbed by Amazon. And now, for what it's worth, they actually do simul dubs. So I respect that. It's just that their dubs suck.
Yep, and I was watching the dub.
Yeah, Country Bumpkin's dub is ass. Dinner Table Detective sounds like they hired a bunch of washed porn stars.
Yeah.
So I would not recommend the dub for either of these if you want to watch them seriously. At least with Dinner Table Detective, the dub is hilariously bad. It's kind of along the lines of the Super Cube dub.
Yeah.
All right. So this one I do genuinely like. I won't be moving it up or down because this week's episode was kind of a meh episode. It easily could have been a much better experience if they had just kind of like, I don't know, had something actually interesting happen. But they basically spent it all with him bonding with his new daughter, and it didn't really come across as very appealing. Yeah. What did come across as very, very appealing, though, was episode 6 of Witch Watch. Honestly, I think episode 6 is the best episode of Witch Watch yet.
I could probably agree with you there. Yeah.
Like there's so much good with this. The wind scene was actually like really, really funny, where she and Khan are basically just like operating on the same two brain cells and like working together. But really what made this whole thing a really good experience was effectively just like the whole romance plot that was happening in the second half with like the legend of the tree and all that, and like Moe and Nico going over to that one random tree that is actually the tree of legend, and like it was genuinely a really good episode.
Yeah, I agree. I really thought great win for me, Khan, and everything. I'm like, dude, her skirt's gonna fucking fly. I was like, I fucking know it. And they actually didn't do it. I was really surprised. I was like, wow.
Same. And I knew that there was going to be like something like screwed up, but they did it in a really like different way where it was basically just, it made her look scary and all that. And he's like, oh no, what's going on?
And then like him and the teacher are like, there's no wind here. What's going on? And then when Moe was getting confessed to and she's just in his pocket and it goes to her backstory, you know, of like why she fell in love with him. And then my girlfriend pointed out to me that basically when you come back from the flashback, you hear a heartbeat and it's not Nico's. As Moe's talking to that girl, as someone that's precious to him.
Well, another thing that they do with that representation is you see Nico like holding like this glowing orb that kind of like represents her feelings towards him. And at the same time, like when you hear that heartbeat, there's another glow off screen that happens that kind of like it like shines down into the pocket on her. It's sort of like basically they're effectively hinting that like Moe likes her, but just isn't fully aware of it at all.
Interesting.
Like he holds her in very high regard, but wouldn't quite call it love. So it was overall probably this series' best episode. And I really do genuinely like this one. Like it is a top 5 for the season. Easy.
So would you say, like I was telling you before, that episode 1 was maybe a little like okay, but as it went on in the movie theater, I was telling you it just gets better?
Yeah, actually, I think I feel like it got kind of sold as like this like awesome like gut buster or whatever, and really it's just like a fun, like very like light-hearted series to watch.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as funny to me as something like Konosuba or Konosuba, Nichijou, and Love is War. Those are the 3 comedy anime that I really absolutely get a kick out of. But it is a good show to watch. Like everything about it so far has been good.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait for tomorrow's episode.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'll probably catch up on To Be Hero X tomorrow as well. Because that's another one where like I see a lot of the clips and stuff, and like I like a lot of the things that I've seen. It's just, dude, I have been trying to keep up with everything that I've been doing.
Dude, it's my
when life decides to hit you, it is going to give you the beatdown. Okay.
Yeah, it's my favorite anime this season, To Be Hero X.
Nice. How about Anne Shirley?
I dropped it.
I get it. This one is another one that feel that like there's a novelty element to it that I enjoy, but this is one that I feel like has been kind of like waning a little bit. I mean, we basically get the boat scene. If you haven't read Anne of Green Gables, you won't know what I'm talking about. But basically, Anne decides she's going to recreate something out of the legend of the Tales of Camelot, pretty much. And the boat she's riding in springs a leak, and she almost drowns. And then, of course, of all people, Gilbert Blythe saves her. And rather than being nice to the guy, she basically decides to like hold on to her grudge and tell the dude off. And that basically pisses him off because he's like, I've been trying to be nice to you and make it up to you after what I did, and you're still treating me like a bitch. So I feel like she's really going to come to regret that decision, but oh well. She even kind of says so in the moment, like, do I actually regret saying that to him? Like, is that how I'm feeling right now? I do like the show, but this is another one where like a lot of the novelty does sort of wear off after about the halfway point. And at that, it doesn't really like do a whole lot to like truly endear you to the characters. There are some fun parts. There are some good parts of it, but I wouldn't judge anyone for not watching it. I like it personally, but I won't judge anyone for not watching it.
Yeah.
So that is Anne Shirley. Ninkoro, an assassin or a ninja and assassin under one roof. Have you kept up with this one?
I watched, I think, like 2 or 3 episodes. I did drop, but I get the reason like why it's popular. It looks very good. Like it looks like the animation looks great. The comedy is really funny. It's just after like I think I get like I said, gave it 3 episodes, and I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, it's funny. It just isn't for me to watch the whole series.
The whole cucked by a robot thing that happened this episode and last episode was absolutely hilarious to me. Like I thought that was great. Then we have the whole like the boobs episode is effectively what you can sum this up as.
I've heard a lot about this, like a lot of funny moments posted online. The Yuri
Satoko, I think her name is. I'm forgetting for some reason what her name is. But she basically gets this idea that if she makes her boobs bigger, she'll be able to keep things in her boobs. So like she literally like her and the other like assassin find a way to like enlarge their boob size, and she comes home with like basically impossibly large boobs, like 10-pound breasts.
Oh my god.
Like they start interfering with everything she's doing. It's very funny. But we also get the leader or Kurio being an absolute scumbag in her relationship. She is like the dirtbag partner who just is always gambling and drinking and like.
I know who you're talking about. I think too.
Yeah.
They have like a 3 group of like it's a group of 3 girls, right?
No. We're talking about the chick in like the suit who is a complete deadbeat who has the memory erasure power.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, her and her girlfriend. She has a gambling problem that she hides from her girlfriend, and like every time Satoko shows up, she rats the leader out. She rats this girl out to her girlfriend.
Oh my god.
This one has been getting like increasingly better for me and like genuinely kind of fucking funny, but at the same time it is like oddly depressing with every episode because there's always something like sort of sad about it. Like with the cucked by a robot thing, you basically have Konoha developing all like these intimate feelings for this robot, and then Satoko goes and turns it into leaves.
It's funny. It's really funny that the assassin girl's like, yeah, I just gotta kill bodies. Hey, use your leaves to make the body disappear.
This is one of those like dumb fun sort of shows. Like I genuinely do enjoy this one.
And I think it's got a pretty high ranking on Mal. Yeah, it's got like a 7.3.
Lazarus. I actually talked about this week's episode last week because I somehow managed to get it early. Don't ask how I pulled that off, but I did. So I don't have anything to say about Lazarus this week.
There's really only a summary I could really give. I just hope the payoff, the ending, is just really good. And I get that this is the point of the series. I get that it's just slowly giving you information to get to the root of the problem of Dr. Skinner and why he's doing stuff. And I think because it got leaked, the new episode today that I watched. I think I'm starting to understand the series. I think the characters are trying to understand why Skinner is doing such things. And they're finding clues to hideouts, to characters that Skinner was in touch with, and they may be in close contact with someone that works for Skinner and their team in the new episode. And we're slowly figuring out why these people are close to him. Why
are we talking about the cult episode or the next episode after that?
The episode after, because I found the new one earlier than it was supposed to be released.
I haven't seen that one yet, so we'll see. I do agree with you to some extent. Like, I feel like the series has spent a whole lot of time side questing, and while I do understand the point of it, I really want some payoff for it. Like, I want some good payoff for it. And I feel like it could do better at advancing the plot, but it doesn't, and it spends a whole lot of time on what it feels like are useless side quests a lot of the time, even though narratively I understand why they're there. It is basically highlighting the issues with humanity, and you're effectively sort of like, it's trying to sell you on Skinner's vision of humanity as a whole.
Exactly, yes. And the newest episode, when you watch it, I think explores that a little bit more, with, you know, some more secrets being revealed and some things, you know, that we'll have to find out in episode 8. But I'm just really hoping, like, you know, it has a great ending. You know, I hope that the ending theme song doesn't spoil it, or like it looks like everyone's dead except the main character, and it's probably because they took Hopna and he lied about it. I don't know. It's something I've just been throwing out there to see if that actually is what happens. But again, I just hope it has a good ending. And like you said, I think that's exactly what the series is trying to do, is try to make you be on Skinner's side, and the characters are trying to understand why he's doing this.
Yeah. As far as that goes, like the ending goes, I don't know, because as far as Shinichiro Watanabe goes, his writing can either be like really tragic like Cowboy Bebop, or it can have a decent ending like Samurai Champloo. So jury's kind of out as far as his writing style, and I kind of appreciate not knowing.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying it's interesting, and, you know, I can't wait to find out.
Mm-hmm. Aharon Season 2.
I'm enjoying it, man. I love this show. I
think the best episode was Drunk Rido so far.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know. There's so many great moments this season with him dressing up as like a Gyaru, you know, like basically, you know, a rebel, or the Animal Crossing episode and Tom Nook die. I don't know. I love it. I love like everything about this show. It's awesome. The characters, the romance, the shenanigans. It's just funny.
Generally, yeah, I do agree. Like, this is an entertaining anime. I don't think it's like the greatest romance of all time, especially with season 2 kind of feeling like it's basically just sort of like wrapping up a bunch of different things. I don't know how long this manga goes for, so I don't know how much longer it's actually going to run.
It's rumored to actually probably conclude this season, and we're just skipping a lot of chapters.
That sounds about right. That's kind of what it feels like. But I do enjoy that they gave us a whole like second season of just them as a couple, like getting along and doing stuff. Not a lot of romance will do that, so I appreciate this. We got a lot of like good, wholesome family stuff this episode, and it was basically a whole episode of side characters, which I didn't really super care for, but it isn't the worst way to go about this.
Yeah.
I feel like this was probably its weakest episode, but overall, season 2 has been entertaining with like the new girl and the Gyaru, who is totally awkward with people. And then, of course, like you have something going on between the two friends who seem to have like had something going in the past, but they just like aren't the same anymore or whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, there are things I appreciate about this, but there are still issues I find with it. I do genuinely enjoy it. And like I said, Drunk Rido is probably the peak of this season so far. I'm not a huge fan of Animal Crossing, so it wasn't like it wasn't like my big point of interest, but like the Animal Crossing, the idle game stuff, that was funny. And yes, the idle dance, that was funny to me because for once it was like, hey, my intuition was right.
That was awesome, man. I love Rido as a character. I love how I saw this meme. It was like, who has the most wild imagination this season? And surely you're Rido.
Hey, I posted that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was my post.
Well, shout out to you then. That was awesome, man. No, I was just like, I don't know. I watched this series when it first came out back in 2022, and I thought it was a good show. Like I was like, oh, this is good. This is good. After it's settling in and getting a season 2, I actually love this show way more than I actually ever thought I did. And I'm so happy it got a season 2 because I actually think I don't know if I would have ever rewatched Aharon. Like, it actually makes me want to go back and watch season 1 again because I don't remember it being this funny to me.
I actually binged through season 1 in the transition between winter and spring.
Yeah.
So I tried to watch this back when it first aired, and I wasn't like a huge fan of it. It wasn't terrible. I just kind of found myself bored with it. This was way back before I started really, really like talking a lot about seasonal anime. Yeah. So I got to about like 6 episodes and decided, not really my thing. I came back for season 2 and watched it, and I ended up liking season 1 a whole lot more when I just sat down and binged it all. So, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, it was a better experience in the second attempt than it was in the first.
Yeah, maybe it's because I got older. Maybe it's because, I don't know, I'm looking for a series where they're in a relationship. I don't know.
As far as series where they're in a relationship, I definitely, like, when it comes to that, like, the first thing that comes to mind is the manga Sweat and Soap, so.
Yeah.
So that's Aharon Season 2. Let's talk Vigilantes. My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I love this series so far. Like, I like the crime fighter element of it. Like, they're not focusing on like a ton of like world-ending big bads. Like, they're just taking down street thugs. I have liked that part of it. I kind of predicted that Stendhal was going to be Stain. Like, the moment he showed up, I was like, that dude is so Stain. Like, there's no way he isn't. Yeah. Turns out he's Stain. We get a good scene of Knuckle Duster kicking ass, but really, like, the big point of note that like really got me to come home and immediately watch this was Vincent Chansard was working on this episode, and you can kind of tell that he was part of it, but it doesn't really feel like his usual work. Like, he did stuff with ReZero, and you could tell when he was working on it. He's done stuff for One Piece, and you can tell when he's working on it. With this, like, there's a mild uptick in like the animation and the dynamic camera work, if you will, like the angles of all the shots and stuff. But otherwise, it still really feels like it's a consistent part of the series. There's no real like major uptick in it. Overall, though, I think this series has been great. I've loved the characters. Pop Step is just fun and hilarious to me. Knuckle Duster being Knuckle Duster is another part of it that I found.
Dude, Knuckle Duster is you, man. He's you.
He's me?
Yeah.
What do you mean he's me? Are we talking about he's drunk, he's violent, he's an asshole? Because all three of those things do apply.
That's you, right?
How is Knuckle Duster me?
He drinks. He's a macho man like yourself. He's strong. I'm sure you hit the gym. Yep. He
not as much as the last 2 weeks, but I do need to get back to the gym now that you mention it.
I love this. I don't know if you were still continuing, but
no, go ahead.
I don't like My Hero Academia, by the way. Like, I started watching it when I first got into anime around the 2016, 2017. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it up to the beginning of season 4. And then I dropped My Hero after the festival arc in season 4. I was not into it anymore. I didn't care. I heard that they butchered season 5. I heard season 6 got better, and then I was okay, whatever. I just was not into it anymore. Then I watched Vigilantes. I love this show. I love the three main characters. I love, like you said, it focuses on the crime fighting where, like heroes can't always be there. The police can't always stop all these things and everything. And just focusing on the three main characters, especially the whole Pop Step backstory, with Koichi and everything, that was so cool. Again, like you said, with Stain, those last two episodes have been fire, man. Like, it's been really good. I'm really impressed, and I'm really happy I tried this. Like, this feels like a more mature version of My Hero that I've been looking for.
Yeah, this one has definitely been a really, really good entry this season. I don't have any complaints about it. I do kind of agree. Like, I can see this Pop Step being the Sakura of Vigilantes, but I like her character more than I like Sakura because Pop Step at least brings a little bit of like her own element of comedy and fun to it, whereas Sakura was basically just, this bitch is here for some fucking drama.
Yeah.
Like, you could have removed Sakura from Naruto and probably made a better series.
Well, the Pop Step episode with the backstory and everything made it a lot better of why she's actually around with the other two.
And like her having like this thing for Koichi makes it a whole lot more interesting.
Exactly.
Like, she's the idol, but she's his number one fan. That's the funny part.
Oh, exactly.
So, Vigilantes, I feel like it's kind of a unanimous good thing. Moonrise. Ooh. Yeah. I will probably keep watching this one. But I think this one's just an okay series. Visually, it's pretty solid. Like, the animation is on the better end, but the writing, the more I watch this, feels sloppier and sloppier the longer it goes on. Like, it doesn't have, like, because it's an original, it doesn't seem to have the same level of refinement to its plot that a manga would get, because a manga has to go through several steps before it starts getting published, right? Like, you have the creator, and then the editor, and then the actual publication, and then it goes to the anime, and the anime will make some adjustments and stuff to make things clearer and all that. This one, because it is straight up just an original, its plot is so far in. As far as this goes, there's still a chance that in the next week I will say, yeah, I'm not finishing the series, I'm dropping it. I'm at episode 10, or that's the last one I watched. I watched episode 10 out of 18. And right now, I feel like this is a series that definitely deserves like the 6.8 score that it has on Mal. It isn't the worst by far, but its plot is getting sloppier and sloppier. And I feel like some of the things that are happening with it just aren't really all that interesting. It's kind of a show that I turn on when I'm playing a video game and just have running in the background so I can keep up with it.
Is there, I forgot who I heard this from, but isn't there some Full Metal Alchemist director, creator, something that designed it, or
the creator of Full Metal Alchemist did the character designs.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
And you can tell because everything looks very much like Full Metal Alchemist when it comes to the characters.
Interesting.
Which I do like that part. Visually, I haven't had a problem with it. It is everything else where it starts to falter, and it does genuinely, like, I can understand why people would have a problem with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Moonrise, I may drop it in the coming weeks. We will see. Once I get past episode 11 or 12, we'll see how the plot goes. If things absolutely go to shit at this point, fine. But right now, it's kind of like a mid-6, so I'd give it like a 6.5, honestly. I wouldn't say it's shit, but I wouldn't say it's amazing. Okay. Moving on from Moonrise. Apocalypse Hotel. Have you seen this one?
I watched an episode, but I'm not watching it. Brittany tells me about it, but that's about it.
I feel like some elements of the story, yes, are genuinely confusing. There are things that happen out of order, there are large time skips, and there are things that just happen in a very, very confusing way. So I can understand that. But for now, I'm at least like giving it the chance to try and explain itself. And if it gets really, really bad in the next couple of episodes, then I'm dropping it. That's as simple as it goes, as it gets.
Yeah.
Okay, so Apocalypse Hotel. Back to Apocalypse Hotel. I really, really like Apocalypse Hotel. Especially after they added like the Tanuki characters into this, particularly Ponko, because she is probably one of my favorite characters from this. She's just funny overall, being like a kid effectively.
Yeah.
This episode though, we basically get the Destroyer of Worlds rolling up to Earth and deciding he's going to wipe out everything, only to find out that there's no actual civilization on Earth. And he's kind of like, oh, well, what do I do now? And it had this had a better fight scene than the beginning after the end has had all season.
Whoa.
This isn't even like a combat oriented anime. Like, this is legitimately like a it is just like a sort of like light comedy series. And because they had this Destroyer of Worlds around and like all of like these heroes show up to fight him, it actually had a good fight scene. So like there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened this episode. Like this, like I genuinely mean this when I say I'm putting this in the very good category, because it starts off a little hard to watch. It wasn't until like episode 3 or 4 that I was really sold on. It took a couple of episodes to get me really, really interested in this. Basically, once they add the Tanuki characters, it goes uphill from there.
That's what Brittany's been saying, man. That's what she's been saying. I've been I like, we'll be watching things together, and I'll just like, look up if I'm doing something. I'm like, wait, there's raccoons now in the the Tanukis, and they're, oh wait, the daughter Tanuki and the main girl are going off in some adventure.
There are this series has been getting better, and I do agree that the latest episode of Apocalypse Hotel was really, really good. Surprisingly, thanks Muffler Tape for the recommendation, because I wouldn't have watched it otherwise. We only got a few more to go through here, 3 exactly. So, Food for the Soul.
I love that show. I love it so much.
I think it's all right. I'm moving this one up, actually, a couple of slots, because, it's Cygames Studio. They always deliver. You guys should watch Uma Musume. It's absolutely fire, and no one believes me because it's horse girls. I really have a problem with the horse girls thing. Like, that's a hurdle for me to get over. But maybe I will, just to satisfy you. If Cinderella Grey is something I can watch just on its own, maybe I'll check it out just so I can talk about it.
Yeah, Cygames is a good studio, so I'm not surprised by its doing.
Yeah. But back to Food for the Soul. We got the diet episode this one, and a bunch of gym shenanigans. Honestly, I enjoyed that, but I felt a little bit called out because I'm kind of in the same boat. I love that, like, they go to the gym and none of them know anything about what they're doing. Like, the chick goes to like the machine that's like shoulder and pec workout, and she's like trying to like lift on it, and it's going the wrong way.
It's amazing.
Sheep Girl is like on the balance ball and like doesn't know what she's doing. And then of course we have our main character, who I forget her name.
Her last name's Kawai or Mocha. Mocha.
Like she gets called Mokachi or whatever. I forget. But the main girl gets stuck on the treadmill. It was genuinely funny. Like, it is your stereotypical like weight loss sort of like episode of a slice of life sort of thing. But this one was funny because at least like with the characters, I do like the characters, particularly the really shy Gyaru and the sheep girl. And they're both crazy and I love it.
Did the sheep girl remind you of Rain from A Break Party?
A little bit, her voice at least. The silent dance scene was. And they're both just sitting there like, what the fuck do I do? What the fuck do I do?
I love
Oh,
this
yeah.
show, man.
This one has slowly been getting better, but I still feel like it's one that isn't fully for me, but I do get enjoyment out of it.
Dude, today's episode was a blast, man. Like that. Like
I love right at the end, she's staring at like her sealed box of snacks and like, maybe just one won't hurt.
No, you said like everything I needed to say. It felt like, they're all calling me out over here about the gym and everything and eating food, and then the whole working out and it was just amazing, man. I love this show. I love how even last week with the car episode and then getting driver's license, she's like, "Oh, did you pass?" And then she just runs out of the room.
Yeah, actually, that was fun. She's another good character. Like, really, the only ones who I think like they're more so to play the straight men of the group. It is the chick with like the dark hair and the twin tails, and then our main girl. They're less funny than the other ones because the other ones are complete ditzes.
They are. It's what's funny is it's the pigtail girl and the main girl are like best friends because they're the sane girls, and then you got Rain over here with the stupid girl, and then the shy girl. I love all of them. I love every character in the show. It is not like the best anime in the season, but I'm really surprised I like this show as much as I do. I was not expecting to enjoy this show as much as I am.
Yeah, that one has been fun. All right, so we move into Windbreaker Season 2 for our second to last entry of the night. And I have finally caught all the way up. And I have binged this entire thing, like, basically all in, like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 sit-down sessions. So I got through the Keel arc, and I'm all the way onto the Tsubaki stuff. I really like, so far, how it does its storytelling, where you'll be introduced to a character and like given an in-depth like couple of episodes with them, and then you get to see them in a fight. It really like makes you invested in what's going on. I like that. So now that they're doing that with Tsubaki, I basically expect Tsubaki to be involved in a fight upcoming here.
Sorry.
They have really heavily focused on it. The animation in this has been pretty good. I do like the message behind it. This is an all-around solid show, one that I have really liked, especially this latest episode. We'll not talk about the pole dancing stuff, but the fact that they were basically fighting like adult street thugs to protect this chick who I kind of figured was going to be some like Yakuza princess or something.
Yeah.
I really do genuinely like this show.
I love Windbreaker. I was not expecting to like season 1 as much as I did, and then season 2 came in, and I had no idea season 1 was like I knew we got left off on a cliffhanger. I had no idea episode 1 we were already fighting like of season 2. I had no clue. So it was really cool to see the Keel arc just happen. I like Sakura as a character. I just think he's just really enjoyable to watch. In certain scenarios when he gets into and everything, he just blushes with romance and everything.
It still does suffer from some of like the shonen issues that like you would expect, but it overall like it's a good experience. Like I said, you get character development before the major moments involving those characters, so you actually have some sort of attachment to them, and they're not all fucking psychopaths like Mikey from Tokyo Revengers. Fuck that guy and fuck that show. Windbreaker is better. Fucking fight me.
I agree.
So like you can genuinely like care about everyone who's involved in this. So it's been a good show. Shonen-ish, yeah. I will give it that. Like it doesn't have like the same sort of plot writing as something like, I don't know, sort of the Demon Hunter or Apothecary Diaries, but it's good. It's still like a really good watch. And also, as far as this goes, I think there's a clip somewhere in here. I believe it is.
Is that right? You could be right. You're so right!
100%. That's my boy Irvin in the chat. Welcome, man. And I 100% agree. I thought the same exact thing, that we were going to have some like backstories or background stories, to hype up the fight. But no, we just got thrown in, and I loved it. And I think every episode after that was just exploring Tsubaki as a character and what she's been going through. And that grandpa and what in his wife episode was just, oh my God, was perfect. And then even the new episode with that Yakuza girl and everything. I think Windbreaker just is one of the best series airing this season, in my opinion.
It's good. And I'm looking forward to more. But that brings me to the last thing on the list here. We're talking about Mono. Have you watched this one?
I dropped it.
Same.
I'd prefer Food for the Soul more.
See, I was told that I had to watch this, that it was funny, that it's 5 retards basically doing their thing. I watched like 3 episodes before the show. And honestly, it almost put me to sleep. Like there are some genuinely funny elements to this. But it is not as funny as it was hyped up to me to be.
I'm a little surprised, but I'm not surprised at the same time because it's true.
Like, there is some comedy to it that is entertaining, but it's not something I'm going to continue to watch. I think I'm just done with it after 3 episodes. I don't really feel the need to keep watching it. Like, I got to the parts that like everyone was talking about, like, oh, this is so great. Oh, this is so funny. You need to watch it. And I'm just like, eh.
I see that you put girl-boy friendship in there. You were hyping about that in the first episode, man.
Yeah, well, at the same time, I was also saying that like there is this looming threat of love triangle bullshit drama happening, and if that's the case, I am dropping this because I don't want to deal with it. And guess what? That's exactly what this show becomes.
Where she dumped the water on him, threw a straw at him.
Well, even in that part, I didn't really care. That didn't bother me. The big issue I had with it was basically like how quickly all of that gets resolved. And like they basically just move into more love triangle drama.
Yeah.
I feel like this series, like this might be the controversial opinion, I feel like this series would be much better if Rion was not a love interest. That is my personal opinion.
Who's wait, the long hair girl? Or
the black hair girl.
Oh, okay. You think it'd be better if she was just gone?
Or if she was just a friend who was trying to set the other two up, instead of her also having an interest in you.
Makes sense.
Because that whole thing complicates things. As much as like Himari has her problems, I like her like upbeat and silly personality much more. I think she's a much more interesting character, and there's a lot more you can do with her. Rion is very like boring, generic female love interest, which is weird considering that for the longest time I was a huge fan of Rem from ReZero. We will not get into that. With this one, I feel like it would have been a much better series if it was just you and Himari. But then they had to complicate things with Love Triangle, and I went on a 20, 30-minute rant, I don't know, a couple weeks ago about how much I was fucking frustrated with what they were doing with this show, and how it could have been much better if they had just, done a single love interest, and how literally it can all be resolved with 2 sentences. All one of them has to say is, hey, I'm in love with you. That's it. The show's done.
And then can a boy-girl friendship survive?
This show, as much as I really, really wanted to like it, is a load of crap because love triangles are the single worst romance trope of all time. Yeah, I said it. I fucking said it. Love triangles can suck my fucking dick, okay? I hate them. I hate them. I absolutely loathe them. They are terrible. They are forced drama for the sake of having forced drama, and the only people who like that are fucking drama whores.
Nice. You know. You know, I also saw that you had baseball on there, man. But what happened? Biggles just ruined it for you?
Well, no. It's one of those things where, like, I just don't feel like watching it right now. It's
Okay.
in the watch later category. Those are shows that I genuinely will consider, like, catching up on at some point if I need to for, like, a season 2. But just don't feel like watching right now. The not for me and the bad sections are literally ones that I will not touch again. Like, we're
gotcha.
done. I'm cutting that off.
Oh, I got one more series to talk about. That's all right.
All right, what you got?
All right. So you're going to hate me. Everyone's probably going to hate me in the chat. I am extremely enjoying the Shiunji Family Children.
All right, it's a solo show now. We do not speak of anything to do with the Rent-A-Girlfriend author here.
Rent-A-Girlfriend sucks. It really does. It is garbage. It is the worst thing I've ever seen, if not one of the worst things I've ever seen. Worse than Cologne, man. Worse than Cologne. But this show makes me laugh my fucking ass off, man. It is so bad. It is so fucking bad, man, that I'm actually like I wouldn't say hate watching. It's like a trash pleasure, you know, like a guilty pleasure of mine.
So, like watching a car wreck in slow motion, effectively.
Yes. It is not a good show. Like I can understand the whole. Says Winston said the other was too much of a coward.
I think they're referencing this. Incest is wincest, I guess.
Sweet home Alabama.
That's from my 100 Girlfriends review.
So, I first watched the first episode, right? And I hated it. I really did not like it. The whole you know, the bombshell of we're not siblings, you know.
Isn't one of them his like actual sister though?
Yeah, so the fourth sibling and the younger brother are actual like twins and everything. And so episode 2, and like they just start having these cliffhangers, right? Oh, I like, you know, these girls are like saying I love you and these cliffhangers and stuff, and I'm like, the fuck? And everything. I'm like, dude, I have to know what happens next. And then they're like, oh, you know, like as a brother, you know, like all that shit. I'm like, of course, right? And everything. And then like the youngest girl is like, I have, like, you know, I love him. Like telling all the siblings. I'm like, bro, like I was like, oh my god, I couldn't believe that, right? So then I started reading the manga, and I like skipped through the manga to catch up to see what the hell is going on. And there's actually like, so I would never recommend this to anyone, but I do think it's very interesting that I think the author is slowly like, you know, like, so basically he's going from an order. The girl, like the youngest falls in love with him. The girl number 4, 3, 2, and we're eventually going to get to 1. We're in the current of the second oldest, basically, falling in love with him. And I just think it's funny because the main dude is just like, I hate incest. No, this ain't happening. No, I hate this. None of you can touch me. None of you guys, you know, like he's just so against it. And I find that so hilarious and everything. I may be losing my mind here, just every word I'm speaking right here. I may be nuts. Maybe the alcohol got to me, even though I'm not on any. But I love it.
I have not heard good things about the manga either. Apparently, from what I've heard, it also, like Rent-A-Girlfriend, goes nowhere.
It does. There is nothing happening. Nothing is happening. I could not recommend it.
You are forgiven for bringing up this series because all you've done so far is just shit on it. The manga is the worst. Honestly, the anime toned it down enough where it's not OP bad. But at the end of the day is an incest fantasy romance. Look, there are a lot of things like I will like genuinely just like I don't give a fuck about in a lot of shows. So like it's not the incest that like is the problem in this for me. Like I genuinely like couldn't give a fuck about any of that. It is the fact that it has anything to do with the creator of Rent-A-Girlfriend and that the story goes nowhere. So fucking miss me with that shit, okay? I wasted all of that time watching Rent-A-Girlfriend season 1 to basically be like, I feel like I lost brain cells. This is awful. Do people genuinely like this show? Do people genuinely like this story? There's nothing good here.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
We're like how many chapters into Rent-A-Girlfriend to where like she's finally just said, yeah, maybe I do like you.
Like I said, it's not a good series. It's not. It's just I'm having so much fun. Just like I again, like Brilliant Healer. I like Brilliant Healer though, but just like Brilliant Healer, it is such a bad show. But like I am laughing at what these characters are just. These girls. These girls are so dumb. Like, there's an episode where the second oldest is playing Twister with him, like the actual board game Twister, and he's just like, "Why am I doing this?" And she's just like, "Oh, I just have to test something to see if my heart's gonna go doki doki for you." And he's like, "What is wrong with you?" And that's a wrap, guys. And
silence, you glorified wad of trash, or I'll squash you like a roach.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling about anything to do with the Shuinji family children or Rent-A-Girlfriend. Honestly, it's just I want nothing to do with it.
Twisted.
Rent-A-Girlfriend is the epitome of sunk cost fallacy. Or sunk cost fallacy. I'll continue to waste time in hopes of something happening. No, you can end that sentence as Rent-A-Girlfriend is the epitome of suck. Rent-A-Girlfriend and Tokyo Revengers are two series that will send me off on a fucking hate tangent. Those are two series I genuinely like. I do not like love triangles, but those are two series that I genuinely just cannot stand whatsoever. I don't understand why it has a following. Like, I can genuinely figure out why things have followings, but when it comes to Rent-A-Girlfriend and Tokyo Revengers, I can't for the life of me comprehend why people actually like those shows or those manga.
But yeah, it is. Marcel saying the Twister was pretty good. Give him more.
Yeah, well, Marcel is the pro gooner in chat, so of course you would say something like that. All right. So I think I'm going to call it a wrap here. I don't know if I'll be streaming games tomorrow. We'll see about that. If I do, it'll probably be around 2 Central. Otherwise, I'm going to try and get back on my usual video schedule. Getting a copyright strike kind of threw me off, and then there was also a bunch of work shit going on that I had to take care of. So I kind of dropped the ball on that this week. I mean, the only thing I have to shill is, you can find me on Twitter at Crimson Lawson, where I talk about a lot of stupid ass stuff that happens. And particularly other people's drama that I needn't get involved with, but I do anyway. Oh, okay then. Jeremy Turner has gifted 5 Crimson Law memberships. And of course, we because of that, we have a clip. And those went to the questioners: Zone, I'm 22, King David Beast, and Ryuga Samurai. I appreciate it, Jeremy. Thank you very much. It's okay. It doesn't matter if you're lurking most of the stream. So what a way to end it. Arceus, is there anything you want to plug for yourself?
I'm on Twitter, at RCS Rules. You can find me. I post seasonal reviews of anime episodes that air each season. Also, anime news and reposts and stuff like that. I also have a channel by the same name, and kind of do lives just like Crimson every so often. So, yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. It really means a lot. I love doing this type of stuff with people that are very cool.
All right. Well, with that said, be sure to check out some of the stuff we're going to be doing in the future and all that. Hope to see you at some point in the future here, and hopefully I can get my life back in order and start working on things properly again, because I've neglected everything, including going to the gym. So, that said, here's some Frieren for all.